The Zodiac Killer. He taunted police with coded messages and was never caught. December 20th, 1968. A quiet lover's lane in Vallejo, California. Two teenagers sitting in a parked car. A figure approaches from the darkness. Without warning, without a word, he opens fire. One dead, one barely survives. This is just the beginning. Over the next year, he'll kill again and again. But the murders aren't the most terrifying part. After each attack, he sends letters to newspapers, letters with ciphers, threats, and details only the killer could know. He demands they publish his coded messages or he'll go on a kill rampage. He signs them with a symbol, a circle with a cross through it. The Zodiac. For 56 years, despite one of the most intensive investigations in American history, despite hundreds of suspects and thousands of tips, the Zodiac Killer has never been identified. This is the story of America's most infamous unsolved serial killer case. Act 1. The First Attacks. December 20th, 1968. Vallejo, California. Lake Herman Road, a remote, secluded spot east of Vallejo, known as a lover's lane where teenagers would park to be alone. It was around 11 p.m. when 16-year-old Betty Lou Jensen and 17-year-old David Faraday pulled up in David's 1961 Rambler station wagon. They were on their first date, young, innocent, their whole lives ahead of them. At approximately 11:15 p.m., another car pulled up behind them. A figure emerged and approached their vehicle. Without warning, without saying a word, he fired a .22 caliber semi-automatic pistol. David was shot in the head at point-blank range. Betty Lou tried to run. She made it about 28 feet from the car before the killer shot her 5 times in the back. A passing motorist discovered their bodies minutes later. David was still alive, but barely. He died en route to the hospital. Betty Lou was already gone. The Vallejo police investigated but had almost nothing to go on. No witnesses, no clear motive, no robbery, no sexual assault. Just 2 teenagers murdered execution style. The case went cold. July 4th, 1969, 6 months later, Blue Rock Springs Park, Vallejo. Another lover's lane, another night, another couple. 22-year-old Darlene Ferrin and 19-year-old Mike Majo were sitting in Darlene's car around midnight when another vehicle pulled into the parking lot. The car left, then returned 10 minutes later, parking directly behind them. A man got out holding a flashlight, bright, blinding. Mike thought it was a police officer. The man walked up to the passenger side window. Then he opened fire. 9 shots, mag-dumping the weapon. Mike was hit in the face, neck, and body. Darlene was shot multiple times in the back and arms. The shooter walked away, then turned back and fired 2 more rounds into each victim before driving off. Mike Majo survived, critically injured but alive. Darlene Ferrin died at the hospital. Mike described the shooter. White male, stocky build, 5'8" to 5'9", around 195 to 200 pounds, short, light brown hair, wearing a dark blue or black windbreaker. 40 minutes after the shooting, Vallejo police received a phone call. A male voice, calm and emotionless, said, "I want to report a double murder. If you will go 1 mile east on Columbus Parkway to the public park, you will find kids in a brown car. They were shot with a 9mm Luger. I also killed those kids last year. Goodbye." He just connected himself to the Lake Herman Road murders. This wasn't random. This was a serial killer, and he was calling the police to take credit. 3 days later, on August 1st, 1969, 3 San Francisco Bay Area newspapers, the San Francisco Chronicle, the San Francisco Examiner, and the Vallejo Times-Herald, each received a letter. The letters were identical. Each contained detailed information about the murders that only the killer could know, a threat, "Publish my cipher on your front page or I will go on a kill rampage," 1/3 of a 408-symbol cryptogram, and a signature, a circle with a cross through it. The Zodiac. For 56 years, despite one of the most intensive investigations in American history, despite hundreds of suspects and thousands of tips, the Zodiac Killer has never been identified. The three newspapers published the cipher. The Zodiac demanded it be printed on their front page. They complied. The public was both terrified and fascinated. On August 8, 1969, just 1 week later, a Salinas schoolteacher named Donald Hardin and his wife, Betty, cracked the 408-symbol cipher. The message read, "I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all. To kill something gives me the most thrilling experience. It is even better than getting your rocks off with a girl. The best part of it is that when I die, I will be reborn in paradise, and all the people I have killed will become my slaves. I will not give you my name because you will try to slow down or stop my collecting of slaves for my afterlife." He was hunting humans for sport, for fun, for his twisted afterlife fantasy. September 27, 1969, Lake Berryessa, Napa County. A young couple, Brian Hartnell, 20, and Cecilia Shepard, 22, were having a picnic on the shore of Lake Berryessa. It was a beautiful, isolated spot. Around 4:30 p.m., a man approached wearing a bizarre costume, black executioner-style hood covering his face, a bib-like garment over his chest. On the bib, the Zodiac symbol, a circle with a cross through it. Dark sunglasses behind the hood, holding a gun. The man claimed to be an escaped convict who needed their car and money. He had Brian tie up Cecilia with pre-cut lengths of rope, then tied up Brian himself. Then he pulled out a knife. He stabbed Cecilia 10 times in the back. He stabbed Brian 6 times in the back. Then he calmly walked to their car, pulled out a black marker, and wrote on the car door, "Vallejo, 12/20/68, 7/4/69, September 27th, 69, 6:30, by knife." Below that, the Zodiac symbol. He was claiming credit, documenting his kills like a signature. Brian survived. Cecilia died 2 days later from her injuries. A passing motorist reported seeing someone in a strange costume near the lake. Another witness saw a stocky man leaving the area, but by the time police arrived, the Zodiac was gone. October 11th, 1969, 2 weeks later, San Francisco. 29-year-old taxi driver Paul Stein picked up a passenger in the theater district around 9:30 p.m. The passenger asked to be taken to the Presidio Heights neighborhood. When they arrived at the intersection of Washington and Cherry Streets, the passenger shot Paul Stein once in the head with a 9mm handgun. He then took Stein's wallet, car keys, and, horrifyingly, tore a piece of Stein's blood-soaked shirt. Teenagers across the street saw a white man in the front seat of the cab wiping it down. They called police and reported a possible robbery in progress. Within minutes, officers responded. 2 patrolling officers actually stopped a white male matching the description, just blocks away, walking calmly. He told them he saw someone running towards the park. The officers let him go, believing him to be a witness. That man was almost certainly the Zodiac. 3 days later, the San Francisco Chronicle received another letter. Inside, a piece of Paul Stein's blood-stained shirt and a letter mocking the police for not catching him when they had the chance. "This is the Zodiac speaking. I am the murderer of the taxi driver over by Washington Street and Maple Street last night. To prove this, here is a blood-stained piece of his shirt. The San Francisco police could have caught me last night if they had searched the park properly, instead of holding road races with their motorcycles, seeing who could make the most noise." He was taunting them, laughing at them. The Zodiac sent more letters, threatening to blow up a school bus full of children, claiming to have killed 37 people, though 5 confirmed victims, sending more ciphers, some solved, some still unsolved to this day, demanding his letters be published or he would kill again. Between 1969 and 1974, he sent at least 18 letters to newspapers, each one more disturbing than the last. Act 3. The Investigation and Suspects. the Zodiac case became one of the most investigated serial killer cases in American history. Hundreds of detectives, thousands of tips, decades of work, but they never caught him. Over the years, several suspects emerged. Suspect 1, Arthur Lee Allen, the most famous suspect, investigated extensively from 1971 until his death in 1992. Why he was suspected? Wore a Zodiac brand watch, same symbol. Friend reported he'd talked about hunting humans and calling himself Zodiac. Lived in Vallejo near the first murders, owned similar weapons, had a history of child molestation. Handwriting showed some similarities. Physical description matched witnesses. Why it wasn't him? Fingerprints didn't match. Handwriting experts said it wasn't a definitive match. DNA testing in 2002 excluded him. No concrete physical evidence linking him to any crime scene. Arthur Lee Allen remains the prime historical suspect, but he was never charged. Many investigators believed he was the Zodiac. Others weren't convinced. Suspect number 2, Richard Gaikowski. A journalist and anti-war activist who lived in San Francisco during the murders. Why he was suspected? Worked for a newspaper, Good Times. Zodiac obsessed with media coverage. Voice analysis suggested he might be the voice in Zodiac's phone call. Looked similar to the police sketch. Had no alibi for several murders. Cryptic behavior and personality. Why it wasn't him? No physical evidence. DNA didn't match. No definitive proof connecting him to any crime scene. Purely circumstantial. Suspect number 3, Lawrence Kane. A convicted violent offender with a history of attacks on women. Why he was suspected? Brain injury in 1962 that potentially caused violent behavior. Lived near Zodiac attack locations. Worked near Darlene Ferrin, victim number 2. Physical description matched. Had access to boats. Why it wasn't him? DNA didn't match. No concrete evidence. Died in 2010, never charged. Suspect number 4, Gary Francis Post, recent 2021 development. In October 2021, a team of cold case investigators called the Casebreakers claims to have identified the Zodiac as Gary Francis Post, who died in 2018. Their evidence: facial recognition technology comparing Post to police sketches. Alleged forehead scars visible in photos. Alleged connections to crime scenes. Claims he confessed to a friend. But FBI and local law enforcement did not officially confirm this identification. No DNA match announced. Many experts remain skeptical. Case officially remains unsolved. Theory 1. He was caught for another crime. Some believe the Zodiac committed an unrelated crime and was arrested, imprisoned, or institutionalized, which is why the letters stopped after 1974. He never revealed his Zodiac identity. Theory 2. He died. The letter stopped in 1974. Maybe the Zodiac died, became too ill to continue, or moved away. This would explain the sudden silence. Theory 3. He stopped because he got what he wanted. The Zodiac craved attention and fear. By 1974, he was internationally famous. Movies, books, obsessive media coverage. Maybe that satisfied him. Theory 4. He's still out there. The darkest possibility. He's alive, elderly, living quietly, having gotten away with murder. Act 4. The ciphers and modern developments. The Zodiac sent 4 major ciphers. The 408 symbol cipher, 1969, solved within a week by the Hardens, revealed his twisted motive. The 340 symbol cipher, November 1969, remained unsolved for 51 years. Then, in December 2020, a team of codebreakers, David Orenchak, Jarl Van Eyck, and Sam Blake, cracked it using modern computer analysis. The message read, "I hope you are having lots of fun in trying to catch me. That wasn't me on the TV show, which brings up a point about me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise all the sooner because I now have enough slaves to work for me, where everyone else has nothing when they reach paradise, so they are afraid of death. I am not afraid because I know that my new life will be an easy one in paradise, death." More taunting, more delusions, but no name, no confession, no useful leads. The 13 symbol cipher allegedly spelled the Zodiac's name, never solved. The 32 symbol cipher, sent with a letter, possibly gibberish or unsolvable. 2002, DNA was extracted from saliva on the back of Zodiac letters. A partial DNA profile was developed. It excluded Arthur Lee Allen. But it's a partial profile, not enough for definitive identification. 2018, genetic genealogy, the same technology that caught the Golden State Killer, was attempted on Zodiac DNA. Results inconclusive. The DNA quality was too degraded. 2020, the 340 cipher finally solved, but offered no new investigative leads. 2021, the casebreakers claim Gary Francis Post is the Zodiac, but law enforcement has not confirmed this. The Zodiac case remains officially unsolved and open with the FBI, San Francisco Police, and other agencies. Confirmed victims. December 20th, 1968, Betty Lou Jensen, 16, and David Faraday, 17. July 4th, 1969, Darlene Ferrin, 22, Mike Mageau survived. September 27th, 1969, Cecilia Shepard, 22, Brian Hartnell survived. October 11th, 1969, Paul Stein, 29. Total confirmed dead, 5. The Zodiac claimed 37 victims. Law enforcement believes he likely exaggerated. The Zodiac Killer terrorized Northern California, taunted police, manipulated the media, and vanished into history. He wanted to be remembered. He wanted to be infamous, and in that, he succeeded. For 56 years, amateur sleuths, professional investigators, code breakers, and journalists have obsessed over this case. Hundreds of suspects, thousands of theories, dozens of books and documentaries, but no arrest, no trial, no justice. The Zodiac's letters stopped in 1974. Either he died, was imprisoned for something else, moved away, or simply stopped. We may never know. If he's still alive, he'd be in his 80s or 90s. More likely, he's long dead, taking his secret to the grave. The families of Betty Lou Jensen, David Faraday, Darlene Ferrin, Cecilia Shepard, and Paul Stein never got answers. They never got justice. Their loved ones were stolen by a man who killed for fun and attention. If you have information about the Zodiac Killer case, the FBI still accepts tips. The case is cold, but it's not closed. If this story left you wanting answers like the rest of us, subscribe to Unsolved Vault. The Zodiac represents the darkest kind of mystery, a killer who got away with it. Comment below, do you think the Zodiac will ever be identified? Thanks for watching. Subscribe and like for more content.